Hey, it's Mike again, and here's some history. So Spruce Run Reservoir is currently at below 38% capacity. So I wanted to share a bit with you about what we see when we're down here. We're looking over towards Route 31 right now. And reservoir was, the dam was completed about 1963. So that's when most of the roads down here were rerouted. Looking out this way, you can see there's a bridge that is usually under the water. Today it is not. That was originally the Spruce Run Turnpike, chartered in 1813. That was the predecessor to modern day Route 31. That traveled between Oxford and Clinton. And the road that travels east-west through the area is Van Sickles Road. Van Sickles is the little settlement that's on the western end of the road, where the Van Sickle Tavern is, now a private residence. And this is the original alignment of the road right here. It's still paved, usually under the water. And I understand that this section here was called Van Sickle Corner Road. This came out to a four-way intersection with what's present-day Krieger Road out on 31. Before 31 was built, that bridge that you see straight ahead over there, that was part of the four-way intersection that was over here. And a small bridge carried Van Sickle Corner Road over the Spruce Run. Now, other things that have come out, have a look here. You can see this is some of the asphalt here, part of the old road. And here you got a pipe that would carry a tributary out here, but it no longer carries water because it's been swamped and rerouted and such. But that would have been the water flowing off of what was the head race to the Union furnace. And this over here, you can see most of the flow would now come through this area. But this is the old bridge. This side here is completely inundated. Some of the guide walls along the side of it have collapsed to nothing. The asphalt and its base layer of gravel here is all shown here. And on this side you can see a little bit more of what's left of this culvert that carried that water course through. And you got a couple of stumps of trees over here as well, still remaining. We'll walk the shore over this way a little bit. This is probably one of the old utility poles from the road. And more busted up pieces of old bridge and such are all through here. More asphalt from the road. And the most important part that's down here would be just what's up ahead. And I'm apprehensive about even saying anything about it, but it really needs to be protected for what it is. It's one of the oldest ironworks in America right here. That pile of stones there is all that remains of the Union furnace, established in 1742 by William Allen and Joseph Turner, Philadelphia businessmen that came up here. This was all Philadelphia money up this way. New York City really wasn't even a contender when it came to any of that. It was a shipping type of port back in the day, but not until the railroads came along did the money shift at all away from Philadelphia. So here, this is what's left of one of the walls, one of the buildings that attached to it. It just looks like a stone row today. Most of the ruins, like see this over in here, this is all part of a wall right here. Now these buildings were held together with horsehair mortars, so once they go underwater, they just deteriorate. They can't hold together anymore the way the concrete does. Concrete and more modern asphalt does still regulate itself, looking much as it used to before it was inundated with water. But all these old stone buildings just look like stone rows now. And unfortunately, the last time this was out of water, people started tearing more of the old furnace apart in here. I wish they wouldn't, because you got a lot of stuff in here. Like there's some interesting like cut stones and everything all through here. But you're not going to find artifacts right in this. The artifacts is going to be all around the outside of it, and nobody's even looking there. They think they're going to be digging in the furnace and trying to find anything good, and they're not. But this is what's left of it. Here's what's left of the kiln. And you can see right over here, you can see the curve of the stone and how this stone was worked in order to fit all the material together. I'm standing right in the middle of the furnace here. You can see the curvature of this whole edge right here. So this is it. It's not out of the water all that often. Some of these stones over here, because the outer stones have collapsed off into the reservoir, but the ones that are still buried, they're still sitting in the place as they were laid. So that is the Union furnace there. What's left of it. It was leveled down, apparently so boats wouldn't hit it or whatever. You can see some of this rock is still kind of fitted together. So it was knocked all down so that boat propellers wouldn't come and crash into it. These days, with the reservoir getting as low as it does, it wouldn't matter so much. But that's what's left of it, and it's unfortunately it's deteriorating a little bit more over time. But that's it. When you take into consideration that the Oxford furnace, about 15 or so miles just to the north of here, built in 1741, was the third mined iron furnace in the United States. And you consider this was only a year later. The first two were in Connecticut. That puts into perspective how historic and important this ironworks was. This is all in Union Township. It's not called Union having anything to do with the Civil War. It's actually because it was the union of acreage that was needed to manage this facility. All of these hills up in here, up this way is the hills where the iron ore came from their mines. But not only that, they needed the timber out on these properties in order to produce the charcoal that was needed to fire the furnace. Oxford furnace was the first of the hot blast furnaces, which employed a bellows, but they didn't do that here until much later, and by that time this one was rather obsolete. Most of the major workings of the Union Iron Works moved to nearby Highbridge before it was even called Highbridge by about 1760, and Taylor acted as the iron master. He took over the company, and that's when it changed to Taylor Iron and Steel Company. Over this way, there is another foundation out over here, kind of in this flat area, and you can kind of see there's some stuff sticking up from later years. There were concrete things and stuff added later. That was later used as a nursing home, and that was the William Allen House. It was built by, I think, like 1715 or something. It's a very old home. And it had been used as a nursing home prior to the development of the reservoir. And unfortunately, it got demolished. That was William Allen. Joseph Turner's house is now the museum down Van Sickles Road, home to the Union Forge Heritage Association, which is a great organization. It's a great museum. I highly recommend you check it out. You can see the furnace again. The oldest part of that house was also 1760, so definitely worth seeing. And then they got the recreation area is over this way, Spruce Run Recreation Area, which opened up halfway through the season in 1972. And now that the water's low, you can trace a lot of these old roadways through, including the Spruce Run Turnpike over there, Old Van Sickles Corner Road, more of Van Sickles Road to the west of here, and the Union Road, which went already all the way to William Trent's house in Trenton. It goes along Picnic Area 4 in the recreation area. Anyway, so there's a little of what you see, at least some of the most important stuff, at Spruce Run Reservoir.